So I'm here with a very special guest, a longtime friend. Um, so this is Caleb. Caleb, is it Snyder or Schneider? Because I had this argument with my friend because we were talking about Zack Snyder, and he yelled at
Sure.
me because I kept saying Schneider. But I think I was thinking of you.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's Schneider, and the big easiest way to kind of differentiate is mine is Schneider, and his is Snyder. So
Okay.
his is Snyder, mine is Schneider.
Okay. So I think that's where my head was. So
Turns out your instincts were 100% on the mark.
okay. So, but I don't know how to say this, but I'm gonna blow up your ego a little bit. I'm a big fan of your work, honestly. This guy is in one of my favorite bands of all time, Bad Acid Trip. Um, I to this day I've been listening to you guys for I don't know how long, man. It must have been.
I met you when you were 19, so
I'm 30. I'm 34, dude. Like, so let's put it
well,
that way.
let the audience do the math on that one. But
Yeah, and I was listening to them a little bit before you joined the band, so
yeah, yeah.
it's yeah, man. It's been a long time. It's been a long time, man. I'm pretty sure it makes both of us feel old, you know. But
It's a life well lived, I'd say.
but the reason I asked you here today was to talk about a certain movie. You know, we're doing movie recommendations and reviews and stuff like that. And I was looking when I was picking the movies that I wanted to do. I scrolled across one and I was like, oh, I definitely have to do that one. And then I remembered I have a distinct memory of being at the drive-in, watching the credits roll, and seeing your name in the credits, and then asking you about it, and you were like, "Oh yeah, I worked on that movie." Um, Drag Me to Hell. This movie's great. This I like really love this movie, man. And could you could you explain to everybody what your job title is and like who you work for and all that, you know?
Sure, sure. My name is Caleb, and I worked for KMB Effects Group at that time, and they had developed a long-term relationship with Sam Raimi, who directed Drag Me to Hell, and then a bunch of other movies. But they first worked with him. The partners of the shop worked with him on Evil Dead 2,
Right.
and that was a pretty wild experience from all accounts, as far as I've heard. But it's a pretty enduring fan favorite, I think. And so I mean, they've worked with him for a number of films. And I think the best way I can describe Drag Me to Hell is Sam Raimi's return to his most Raimi self after like Spider-Man.
This is this is like Evil Dead 4, dude. Like I don't know.
Pretty close,
It
yeah,
really
yeah. I
is.
mean,
They even have isn't Ted Raimi in here too somewhere? Or no, he helped write it. No, that's what it was.
yeah,
Like
I
him and
think
Sam.
Ivan as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. So
Um, so the whole family got in on that one.
yeah,
But
man.
you can almost feel like him just wanting to have fun and kind of flex those Raimi muscles, like,
It's it though, like down to the car, down to
oh yeah, yeah.
the just the editing of it. Uh, it's Evil Dead 2 is back and forth one my favorite horror movie of all time. It's between Exorcist and Evil Dead 2. That's where I'm at. You know what I
I
mean?
mean, those are
So
definitely solid. I mean, to me, like Evil Dead 1 is definitely like interesting.
mhm.
Evil Dead 2 feels, I mean, it's pretty much a remake of the
it,
first one.
it
But
they just fixed it. It's just
yeah,
like, you know what? Let's tighten this up. Let's bring the scares in from the beginning.
yeah.
We could
Let's
keep the
just get
flat.
wild. Let's get wild.
Yeah,
Uh,
they did it, man. And it's to me, it's how for how silly it is and all that. If I'm sitting there watching by myself, I get scared, man. Like it legit
Oh yeah, yeah.
puts a
There's
fear in
some
me.
really unsettling elements to it, and like I'm sure you're aware that I'm sure the Raimis, but Sam Raimi in particular is a big fan of the Three Stooges. So there's lots of little isms that kind of sneak in there.
And I never really thought about it. I don't know if I've ever heard that, but it completely makes sense. Like,
Well, if you think back to Army of Darkness, when the skeletons are all coming out of the ground, at one point one of them goes to poke him in the eye and he blocks it. So,
on
and I
Dracula,
like Army of Darkness. I think it's a little too far in the comedy
it's crazy.
realm.
crazy,
But it's great.
like
It's
comedic.
fun. It's totally fun. But I think I think what you were kind of saying about like getting scared by Evil Dead 2 a little bit is there's a little bit more of a sense of menace. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, that's maybe a little bit more absent in Army of Darkness, but it's still a fun film for
Yeah,
sure.
the comedic element, in Evil Dead 2 is just Ash's personality. You know what I mean? It's not nothing. That's just a that's just a person that's a funny dude without even really trying to be funny. You know?
Yeah, and some of the circumstance and some of the way the camera behaves,
Right.
it's definitely meant to kind of off or yeah, off kilter the audience.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, so my function on that film was kind of my entrance into the mechanical department.
Okay.
So at KMB, which was really exciting. I'd done other work in different capacities there for the few years. I started there in 2004 in May, and this would have been around, I think, 2007. Um, but it was really exciting for me to be able to kind of help make some of the puppets. And we're gonna get into spoilers or no?
Okay. So this is what I've been doing. I've been we give like the basis of the movie,
Okay,
and then it's all out from there. If somebody wants to cut from there, and we'll go watch the movie. That you know.
okay. Do you want me to describe what the story is basically?
Yeah, actually, please, would you?
Okay. So there is a bank teller who is trying to increase her position at the bank she works at. And she has an opportunity to show mercy or to become maybe a little bit more mercenary in
Mhm.
terms of dealing with an elderly gypsy woman.
Yeah,
And
what's
in
it
doing
like a
so,
Ganesh or something like that?
yeah, the decision she makes leads her to become cursed. And the curse increases in its intensity over the 3 day duration, and things get kind of wild from there. So,
Right. So that's pretty well spoken, man. That's
thanks.
from there. Like we said, it's we're spoiling this. Okay, first maybe 2 minutes of the movie, they send a little kid to hell. That's my kind of movie, dude. When 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 there's no mercy on anybody, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
That's my kind of movie because that's real life, man. It's innocent are gonna are gonna get their dues sometimes, you know. So yeah,
yeah.
so it starts out with this little kid. Um, he got cursed by this whole situation, right? How did that play out right away? I
So
can't remember exactly.
he stole something
He stole.
from
I remember that.
like a family of gypsies, and they gave him the curse from the Lamia, which is the entity that's going to enact revenge.
Mhm.
And there's basically uh, a very difficult course to free yourself from the curse,
Right.
but it basically means that someone else you're passing the buck, and
Yeah. There's no. It just ends. It's like you're gonna screw somebody else over.
oh
For
yeah, yeah. It's kind of like, did you ever see It Follows?
I did. I
Yeah,
did.
kind of like that element where it's
Right.
like,
Right. Yeah. I
they
didn't. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. That's pretty spot on.
yeah, yeah. So that was, I think, a really unique film as well.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. Um, so in terms of like my capacity, my function for that film, since we're getting into Spoilerville and all that kind of stuff, there were some mechanical goats that we made. A goat that basically swapped the head
You
out
made
from
that
one
goat.
end. Yeah, yeah.
You were
There's
part
like
of making that.
scriptures where basically it has like a regular head, and then the head could get swapped out for like a demonic goat head where it bites the guy in the hand.
Rad. Rad. Okay.
So I basically helped with the body, which had like some basic neck movements and all that kind of stuff. Um, then one of the more fun things was the vomit cannon, where she has a nightmare sequence, and Mrs. Ganoush, who's the she becomes deceased gypsy woman. She's like robbing.
Let's try to break some of that down. So okay, like you said, a bank teller. This old woman comes in to try to save her house,
Yeah,
and so she's already got an extension like 2-3 times, and she's
yeah.
asking for another extension.
Just one more. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, just one more. We're gonna take care of it and all this, and then the main girl, for the life of me can't remember her name, but
I think it's
uh,
Allison Lohman.
what was it?
Allison Lohman, I think.
Elsa.
Ellison.
L.
Allison, like A L
Ellison.
L I S O N. Should be in the box.
Yes, man. I for the life of me, I can't remember. No matter how many times I've seen this movie, but that's usually I refer to people as by other movies they've been in.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Like I was watching Event Horizon. I was like, the Jurassic Park guy. Like
yeah,
I
for sure.
was doing shit
Well,
like
she
that.
pretty
But
much, I think she kind of pumped the brakes on acting after
yeah,
Drag Me to Hell.
I haven't seen her past that. I
I
know
think yeah,
Justin
maybe
Long's
with
in
the
it, but
family, you know. Like
but
she did a lot of work as a kid too, so she had a
oh,
pretty
okay.
cool career up until that point. So
Okay, well, either way, she did great. It was
yeah,
she was fine for what she did,
yeah,
but anyway, she had that chance to help that lady, and like you said, she's trying to further her career, so that's going to look bad on her by
correct.
doing that. So
Yeah,
she basically puts her foot down and tells the lady they can't help her. So right away, that lady's like she steals a button from her, right?
yeah. So basically, they when the Mrs. Ganush is trying to plead her case a little bit more fervently, like she stumbles, and in doing so, she takes it that Alison Lohman's character pushes her on the ground, which it's just more of like a misunderstanding. It's not like she shoves her, but
Right.
she feels like, "Oh, you shamed me," and so in doing so, she in I think being wrenched to the ground, she pulled one of the buttons off of her jacket or something like that,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then she basically has this thing and curses it, and then that's how everything kind of moves forward.
It's attached to that button, right? That
Yes, correct. Yeah, that's
which she technically owns. So
yes,
okay, so from there she's playing it cool. She's like, I'm fine or whatever. This just kind of freaked me out and all that. And so her boyfriend is Justin Long,
yeah, that's right.
and so little by little she starts seeing this, right? She starts seeing things in her house, and if I'm not mistaken, I can't remember all
Yeah,
the first things she starts seeing. I want to say it was like in her house, but I could be
yeah.
wrong.
Basically, it starts with like noise, and then eventually, like things escalate over the 3 days, and eventually the spirit becomes like tangible in the sense that it can like pick her up and throw her around, and
Right.
so that in conjunction with the ghost basically of Mrs. Ganoush,
Mhm.
she's being, her the terror is being escalated
Well, that's
daily.
right. We didn't say that she did. We say that she died? Like,
Yeah. I kind of briefly
okay,
said that, but yeah, like
yeah.
basically she
She
goes to try to like make things right with her
right.
after
And
she
she finds out
starts.
she's dead. It's
Yeah,
like,
and
how
she's
am I
like, "Oh
supposed
yeah,
to take
you
this?
can go say whatever." She's in there, and then she goes to see, and she's dead. And
Yeah.
so it's like, well, she can't take the curse off you now. She's dead.
Right. And then homegirl, she goes sees what do you call them?
Like a spiritualist.
Yeah, there we go. So
Yeah,
this dude, that dude's a good actor, man. Like I don't
yeah.
know, I just something about him. I believe this dude. I was like, this guy really does this for a living. Like,
He was in Inception also.
and oh yeah, he was. You're right. I haven't seen that movie for a while either. So
I just recently rewatched it. That still holds up also, I think.
okay, yeah, it's good to know. I gotta watch something because I need my Christopher Nolan fix, man.
Yeah.
This Rona ain't playing, man. I gotta hit a theater soon. But um, okay, so like you said, she was having like nightmares and stuff like that. And there's a point where she's she wakes up next to an old woman,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
she throws up like maggots and stuff like that. Is that what you worked on? Is that what you're talking
yeah.
about?
So basically what we did was we call it like a vomit cannon. It's just like a
Okay.
big syringe, like a big one, like
Okay.
probably like this wide. And so we built like a fake head, and then it's off camera, but the basically if I was the fake head, the big syringe would be right out the back.
Okay.
So they frame it so that you
You
don't
just don't see that pipe,
you
pretty
don't
much.
see the big plunger and all that stuff. So actually what that was is it was pasta that was bug shaped.
Okay.
So it was like bug shaped pasta with like methicil, which is like slime. Like in all the alien movies, that's what methicil is. It's like a powder you add to water and it just gets stringy and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
so basically, and a lot of the stuff I built, I didn't go on set for it. So it's like, it was fun working on it in the shop, but there was other artists that went and actually executed it on set. But I
Right.
think they did like at least 3 takes. So, and it was, the tube was probably this full of,
So this is a lot. So,
yeah, yeah.
no,
So everything with Sam Raimi is, it's a lot. So
right. If you're working on a Raimi film, there's some job security there, man. Like,
Yeah, and there's he's not so precious about you know being gentle with actors. I think
okay,
Bruce Campbell, he's been very vocal about how how
yeah.
torturous
On
Sam
what
Raimi is.
was it on? Yeah, it was on like on Evil Dead 2, wasn't he just like underwater, like with that all
Yeah,
that makeup and all that?
yeah. When he hits the tree and goes into the puddle. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And
yeah,
then yeah, he comes out all evil. That's the exact part I'm talking about. Yeah, it's
yeah.
I could just imagine, man. I don't know.
Well,
But
just
I mean,
hitting him with like the part where he in Evil Dead 2 where he gets hit by the spirit and he's spinning around. He's getting hit by branches and twigs. That's all Sam Raimi hitting him with
just
branches
hitting him. It
and
doesn't.
not like gently, like
I mean, to be fair, in my opinion, these are some of the greatest movies of all time. So I did something right, man. Like,
Yeah, 100%,
so
100%. And I know I'm not like a film historian, but what I do know is that Sam Raimi's like been pretty methodical about like I have to get 30 takes until I get the right one.
oh wow.
So
So
yeah, so that's a whole different like kind of psychology. I think that's probably more in the early days, probably not so much in like later on.
he knows what he's doing at this point. He's just like,
Well, he knows what he's doing, but also like you can't get that luxury. Like they're
gotcha.
not going to give you 30 takes on Spider-Man to like get somebody
That's
grabbing a glass and picking
the-
it up.
those
Like it's
those 30 takes are gonna take another 30 grand or something. Like,
yeah,
just
yeah,
for one take.
exactly. Yeah. So but so the vomit cannon, the goat.
Let's talk about the goat. So toward the end of the movie, she ended up paying somebody that psychic dude. What did we call him again?
Just a
Like
spiritualist.
the spiritualist. He contact he gave her a reference to a lady that could help her, right? And there's
Yes.
well, so she says,
Yeah.
so and she's the woman from the beginning that was trying to save this little boy, and he ended up
Correct.
going to hell. So she's trying to,
She's trying to
this,
make it right. She wants to get it. She wants to nail it this time for
yeah,
sure.
it's like round two. We gotta fix this. So
Yeah, yeah.
they go in her house, beautiful house. It's
In Pasadena.
oh, that's where it's at.
Yeah.
I gotta drive by and say hi to the lamia. Like,
Yeah. It's a pretty stately manner. Yeah. Yeah. It's a pretty good
so
one.
so it's a huge room. They got a table in the middle. They're doing their little seance or whatever you call it,
No,
and,
that's it. Yeah.
and then yeah, sure enough, she has a helper that brings in a goat, and she has to put her hand on it or something, right? And then they cut
So
that
the point is they're supposed to basically cast the Lamia. They're
into
supposed to
that.
summon it, cast it into the goat, and then kill the goat. And then in theory that would end it.
Yeah. Okay.
But then what ends up happening is the goat gets the spirit, and when they go to slit his throat, it bites the guy who's going to kill the goat, and then the spirit goes to the
Yeah.
guy.
That goat straight starts talking and you bitch.
Yeah,
Which
yeah,
is
yeah.
total Evil Dead right there. That's
Totally, totally. And so they basically sculpted like a realistic goat head, and then like a more like kind of stylized, version of it, and then they made a mechanical version of that as well, so it could have some movement and stuff
so
like that.
so the mechanical aspect of it. Are you doing that, or are you just putting like a skin over that, or how does that work?
So what I personally helped with was the body. So
Mhm.
the body had like a neck movement, so you can do this. But then they made the head interchangeable, because
Okay.
instead of making two full things, if you can just swap the head, and that's really the only thing that changed in terms of the design. It's not like it got like bigger. It's
Right, right,
just
right. It's
went from like normal to like
just different facial expression, right?
yeah, yeah. So the regular goat head, I don't think it really did much. It was just kind of like it had to have the ability to swap out. So I didn't really have anything to do with like what they call like the hero head, which is like the featured one.
Mhm.
But I think there was motors to make the eyes blink and move around and the mouth to open. I think there was some lip movement. So that's
Right.
all radio controlled. And then yeah, my whole thing was just basically the body and then how to connect them. So I
That's
was just starting in mechanical. So the expectations of me were, not like you have to figure out this crazy thing, that everyone's
yeah.
depending on for this thing,
Right.
So it was all done the way it should be.
Yeah, that stuff always interests me, man. When I'm looking at movies and I see something like that, I'm like the time and just the dedication to. I mean, this was in the movie for 2 seconds, and it's great, but it's
Yeah.
like just all that effort, like you got to give a round of applause to these guys, man. And you're that guy, like
Well, one of them, and there's a big team, and
for sure, always,
yeah,
but I mean, you're one of them, and it's
sure.
and I'd like to personally thank you for and on behalf of everybody in the world, like
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I mean, it was a fun film to see the screening for. I don't know what it was like in the drive-in, but the theater I saw it, the sound mixing was really
oh,
refined.
I love this movie, man. I saw it
Yeah.
about 3 4 times. So the drive-in, I think that was the first time because the theater was packed.
Oh, okay, okay.
And so then the upcoming weeks I might have seen it again and then again. Like I know I saw it at least 3 times. Like not in my house. It's
Because I know like the screening sound was like when it was scary, it was like audibly scary. So it
right.
was like it wasn't just jump scares; it was like sonic punches, which
Yeah,
was effective.
that's Raimi's like move though. You feel when something's moving fast. Like
Yeah, yeah,
the part that I like is when she's in her house and she starts seeing like things moving around and
yeah,
she runs
yeah,
to her room and she could hear like goat footsteps.
yeah. The stomping, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and then you could see the shadows come in,
yeah.
and, and then I think the door blows open and goes in her room and all that. But just that whole little sequence is cool, and that's you start getting a lot of those sounds where you just really feel this is happening. It's great, man. It's
Yeah, and I also really enjoyed the theme, musical theme for it.
Mhm.
That start kind of sets the tone. The opening credits is really cool.
Music is
Um,
everything. Music
it's
is
I think if I'm not mistaken, it was Christopher Young who had also done the Hellraiser.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that. Yeah.
yeah.
I,
I mean, he's like a working film composer. He's got like a lot of experience. But I really enjoyed. I do like kind of gypsy music as well. I mean, there's all sorts of different versions of gypsy music. There's like Spanish gypsy stuff, and that sounds more like flamenco. But the stuff I like is more like Balkan sort of stuff, where it's there's like a minor scale which sounds sad, and it's
mm.
like the more amped up version. So if it's like the extra saddest minor, which is like a gypsy scale, and
I actually collect. I actually have some vinyls too because it
oh great,
that it does interest me. I don't know a lot about it. I'm not gonna
yeah,
sit here and try to be, but I from time to time I do put them on, and then my girl will come in like, "What are you listening to?" Or you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
this is
If you like that really sort of I'd say dramatic sort of violin based stuff, that's like the more
it's music,
broomy.
man. The thing is, it's music. Like that's a whole nother thing we gotta talk about one day, man. Just
Sure.
like your music career, because man, you don't even understand, man. You interest me so much, dude. Like just you just the few things that you've told me about like blow me away. Like, all right, um, you you once told me that you were working on the what is it called, the Walking Dead maze at Universal Studios.
Yeah. So we had provided some elements for that initially, and didn't have a ton to do with that. They basically made a head cast of me and then put zombie appliances on it for the show Walking Dead, and so they used some of
Okay.
those casts because it was kind of like already there.
Oh, because it was already made. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's what I wanted to get into. I
Okay.
so you like in passing you had I think mentioned it to me or something, and then
Yeah.
and sure enough I walked in there and I saw your head like 2 3 times in there. I was like,
Yeah.
it's Caleb, dude. Like,
With a wig.
well, I mean, like you'd fool me, man, because I'm like, dude, this is there's one that's just full on bald, if I'm not
Was
mistaken.
there? I never got a chance to check it out, but like I know that they used at least three. I mean, I know there's a couple funny pictures of
Yeah,
I think there's like a black wig and like so it looks funny, but
I think I have a
me.
picture somewhere, but it's kind of hard to take pictures in there.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
But it definitely just blew me away. I'm like, dude, this like what the hell, man? I know this guy. Like now I'm at Universal Studios staring at this guy. It's
Yeah, get away from him.
no, I used to work at a casino, and
Oh, that's right.
a Walking Dead slot machine,
Yeah,
and you're on the slot machine, dude.
yeah,
Am I
yeah.
am I mistaken?
No, you're right. You're right. Yeah, I mean, all of that is just opportunities afforded
Right, but
working at
it's still
KMB.
whether that was your job or not, the fact that you're on there trips me out. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah,
it's
I
something
mean
that I think is fucking awesome. It's just cool, you know?
it's super fun, and I'm really grateful to the shop for keeping me around and giving me stuff to do and being part of the team. It's feels nice, and it's cool to kind of participate in those moments. So they did a second one of the was it video poker? Was that what it was? The Walking Dead thing? The slot
Um,
machine?
I can't remember. It was a little slot machine.
Slot
That's what
machine.
it was.
Yeah.
I mean, I had seen that there's like different variations of it, so it could be, but for sure that one was like a kind of slot machine type of thing.
Yeah, that's right. So they did a second version of it as well, and that one I just did some makeups, some zombie makeups on some people, and it's kind of a funny story. Uh, Sometimes on films, extras
Mhm.
can be a little challenging to work with because they're really excited to be there, but they don't maybe have the professionalism of what it takes to be on a film
Right.
set.
You got
Talking about like Sam Raimi, there was a story I read that I think it was on The Quick and the Dead, the Sharon Stone gunslinger movie.
uh-huh.
There was one extra who just he kept disrupting the shoot, and he was like, I got this great idea for my character, and you have to understand this guy is just like somebody walking around the background. It's like there is nothing to your character, man. That's all there is. And so he kept insisting, well, you got to do this thing, and so he was like kind of putting a wrench in the works.
Uh-huh.
So one of the producers in the film, just to basically shut him, was like, okay, we're gonna shoot it. Today's the day. We're gonna shoot your idea. And so they let him. They basically just indulged him, and they had a camera set up and the whole thing. Did all this stuff, knowing full well they weren't going to do anything with it.
Right.
But what he didn't know was the camera didn't even have any film in it.
Oh my.
It was just to get him to play along. Like, okay,
Right.
are you good now? Can you
You
just
filmed it, yeah.
do your job? So all that to say was on the second iteration of the Walking Dead video slot machine,
Mhm.
there was most of the extras were really cool, but there was one guy, and basically, do you watch the show The Walking Dead at all? Are you
Oh yeah,
familiar?
religiously, man. For
Okay,
sure.
so the governor in his mansion with all the severed heads and all the jars, that's all these
Hey,
people.
spoilers. No, I'm just kidding, man.
Unfortunately, most of them weren't actually characters that were of reference. They were just pre-existing
Right,
heads
right,
and
right. No, no, we're good, man.
um, it was his version of the television. But that's what these people were cast for. They were cast to basically be heads in jars, and that's it.
Okay, so are you guys taking molds of their heads or they're just sitting there?
So we just did makeups on them, and then,
Uh-huh.
and then they were on a green screen, and they were going to basically digitally remove the rest of their bodies.
Okay.
So they
That
just
makes
wanted them
sense.
to kind of just,
Just sit there.
I'll,
Yeah.
I'll do it here, like
Yeah.
that kind of
Yeah, yeah.
stuff. But this guy had never seen the show because he decided that his zombie would talk, and that
So,
he,
so he just took on he was Bub all of a sudden, right? Like
oh, if only he had that much level of attention. No, he decided, and this ties back to Sam Raimi and Evil Dead. He
uh
decided that he was going to be very dramatic and say,
oh man. Oh man.
"Your soul." You're like, cool, bro. We're never going to use that, man. Like for sure, 100%. I can't even perform to the level of
Yeah.
dramatic. I
Just the
think.
thought of it is hilarious, man. It's
Oh, it was
so
great.
good.
And then there was also, I think the first time they did the Walking Dead uh, Universal experience, they had like different vignettes from the different shows or whatever. And there was one guy who was in the they let some of the people who worked in the show. I think it was around season 3 or something like that. They let people who had worked in the show like kind of get a preview of it before
Okay.
because the shop had supplied like different elements for the basically it's a haunted house. And they had hired local people to be just be in makeups or whatever and kind of walk around. And this one guy, again, sometimes taking the extra initiative isn't the right move.
Right.
And so it was. I worked at a haunted houses like a long time ago, and so a lot of times there's like secret hallways and different ways you can kind of
Mhm.
try to scare people. Because the whole point is to like, if you have a room, if it has one scare, that's okay. But like once 3 people come in, they're going to see it. So it's
Right.
best if you can have like 2 scares kind of built in.
Yeah.
So like the first group sees the first scare,
And
and
then
then
there's like a wall
as
in
the other
front of
people
you.
coming, and the other people are coming in, then they get one too. So that you can kind of strategically kind of plan that out if
Right.
you
Right.
care.
Right.
So this guy's plan was very, very, very literal. So at one point, and again, I'm not sure what he was thinking, but he had an axe, which not really part of the show in any
Uh-huh.
way, but he kind of approached and went, "Zombie." I was like, "Cool, man, cool." And then he went to the secret doorway to like the kind of cut me off at the pass, and then he went, "Zombie with an axe." It's like, that's great, man. That's really cool.
You got me.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
wasn't scared until you said the axe part, and then I was.
yeah. I mean, my eyes work pretty good, but hearing you say it, it's so much more terrifying.
How did you know the word axe freaks me out, man? That's my trigger word, man. Oh man.
So, anyways, that's kind of a long winding road, but yeah, back to the Universal thing. I actually never got to see the experience with all the mechanical stuff. We didn't really. That was a weird experience because like the shop had all the molds of what we were going to offer, and then they hired a different shop to do some of the more theme park, because that's
Okay.
like we generally don't do like theme park sort of stuff, and it's built in a
Right.
different way because it has lots of different riggers, and like even when they had the Jurassic Park experience at Universal, the shop that did the stuff for the movies didn't do all the mechanical stuff for the ride, and
Mhm.
obviously because most of it was broken all the time. but
Tell me about it.
but they would have to supply the molds so that everything would be accurate, and then they could build the stuff, and so forth and so on. So it was kind of the same thing for us. So
Yeah.
but we supplied stuff, I think, like the first year, and I think we were under contract to do like maintenance, but then after that we didn't really have much to do with it. But I do know that they took a head cast of me. I think it was for season 3 when they're in the prison. I don't remember what episode it is, but they basically shoved my head through a chain link fence. And so they took that, and then they used that for some of the bodies at the thing you're talking about. So
Gotcha. Well, what you said they used yours for season 3?
yeah, basically they took a head cast of me, like my shoulders, and then I built a rig that my face is in like kind of a expression like that, and so it's off to the side, and so I built a rig where you could basically mash my face into
Okay.
the fence. So
I've been waiting to just run through the show again. I'm gonna see if I could catch that one, man.
yeah, it's somewhere in season 3. I mean, they're at the prison, so it's probably when they're
How
messing with
long
the
ago was that at this point, though, man? That's
I know, it's pretty crazy to think about.
you're talking about the governor, like, people watching right now probably weren't even born when the governor was still alive,
Yeah, it's interesting. It's always been like fun finding different ways to do different things, and all the episodes have something different. It's weird watching the show because it's like a weird sort of deja vu, because as it's happening you're like, this seems familiar, and then as it's happening, like, oh yeah, because the guy gets pulled in half, right? All right, okay, yeah, of course. But anyways, enough digression about that. We want to get back into Drag Me to Hell, I'm sure.
Hey, man, this is, like I said, we the only times I really get to see you is at Badass Trip shows, and
Yeah, which we're so grateful to have your friendship for all these years too. So
I mean it's a trip because like I don't just say that, man. Like Badass Trip has meant a lot to me. You know what I mean? You guys really have. You guys, I don't know if you remember, but you guys played at my 21st birthday. That meant that meant the world to me, man. Like this was a surprise thing, So when I saw you guys there, I was like, oh man, I like broke down inside, dude. I was like, man, that means so much,
Yeah,
So
we had to, man. My only regret about doing that show was that you guys didn't get to play.
we played
2 songs. Yeah.
So, but I don't know if you remember we're playing the first song. The cops show up.
Oh yeah.
And like we really quick started a second song, and the cops stood at the gate and watched us. Let us play that song.
That's right.
While there was a helicopter over us.
I remember that. Yeah.
We had a spotlight on us, and then I just remember Dirk coming up to me after, like, I'm so jealous. I'm like, dude,
you got a whole set, man.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, you've played at Ozfest and shit. Like you've played at the Greek Theater. You're talking about a spotlight. Like, shut
But
up, Dirk.
if they got over in Spotlight, there's a certain badge of honorness to all that too, you know.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. It was just I don't know. Like I said, like these little things have meant a lot to me. So so to it not everybody could have some kind of friendship with their favorite band. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
So
I mean, I think cool people are cool people. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter what what they're doing. You know what I mean? Whether it's a fellow band or a friend or whatever. Like all that stuff really doesn't matter. You know, you're a
right.
great dude, and so
Appreciate
like
that. I really
like
appreciate that.
there's nothing
Like you said,
like
we're all people, definitely.
exactly. So there's
But
no
I mean,
separation there.
I mean, try to tell like we were talking I don't know if it was the last podcast or the podcast before, I can't remember, but we I had for a while I was throwing shows. Like you guys played at one of my shows,
Yeah,
actually,
yeah, yeah.
in
It was in Riverside, right?
Riverside, correct.
Yeah.
So the show, actually the show right after that one, we we I decided to throw a hip hop show. I have a lot of
Yeah.
buddies that do hip hop and stuff like that. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, let's do a hip hop show next month. After that, we'll do bands again and all that.
Yeah.
So that day that I throw a hip hop show, um, I looked to the back of the bar, and Kerry King's standing there.
Oh,
Like
shit.
I'm just like, Jesus
Yeah, because
Christ.
he lives in out there, doesn't he?
I guess I don't know where he lives, but I'm just like, and pretty much as soon as the music started, he was not having it. He was out. Like I didn't even get. I was like, that was Kerry King, dude. Let's like, I didn't even bother trying to like, hey, what's up, man? I was like, forget it.
Yeah.
That was that was lost. It's crazy because like I have a guitar like um with his pickups on it and
Yeah.
his pickups, and it was like I would have liked to like, hey, can you sign this or something? If it
Sure.
would have been if it would have been that show where you guys were on, I had that guitar there, but that wasn't the case. But what I'm saying is like you don't get those opportunities to have some kind of friendship with bands you like, and I've always appreciated it, man.
Well,
I don't know where I was going with this. I can't remember, but
no, it's okay. Listen, I mean, there's certain bands that like I'm wary of. Like, I prefer not to meet the person because
it's
just
gonna be,
on the offside that they're a jerk. So
yeah,
like I don't want to be a jerk. Because who knows if someone's nice and they like your stuff. Like you could meet a cool friend and here we are. So there you go. You know
right.
what I mean?
Yeah, no, I definitely know that fear too. Like I was in the Scars of Broadway music video, one of their music
Oh,
videos.
really?
Yeah. And and like you guys and System of a Down, I've always looked up to. So, that was my high school years. Like
Sure.
I found you guys through System of a Down,
Sure.
and all
Sure.
that. And I was like, I'm gonna be in this music video. The odds are I'm gonna meet Darren,
Hmm.
and I was like, I just have a feeling he's gonna be a jerk to me. And so it was like, I don't know if I want to meet him, and he ended up being real cool to me. So it's like,
Oh, that's great.
yeah,
I'm glad.
obviously we're not gonna be hanging out, being friends and stuff like that. But he was real cool. There was always a cool little thing. Like as they were leaving, he offered me a ride because he thought I was just hanging out. I was like, it's kind of weird, man. You don't know where I live. Like he's like, oh, you need a ride or something, dude? Like, no, dude. Like, I appreciate that, but I don't know.
Sweet.
I don't know how to take that. But either way,
It's a nice
it
offer.
was a nice offer, and that's something I always remember too. But as far as Kerry King, I don't know, man. That kind of broke my heart right there.
I've heard mixed things. So I
Yeah.
know
So
the band Badass Trip played with Slayer a few times because they shared the same management for a while.
right.
And I know that it wasn't the best experience. So
Yeah. I mean, like you said, it could go either way, but
yeah,
like you said, you don't necessarily. Sometimes you don't want to meet these people.
yeah,
Slayer's one of my favorite bands. I haven't seen them live once. But
yeah.
I've seen you guys countless amount of times. It's just one of those kind of things. It's just like I could listen to these guys on I could listen to their CDs and stuff, but I'll keep it there. But with you guys, it's like I have to experience that. It's always been I don't even know how to this day I don't know how to describe you guys. It's always a circus. Like it's
Yeah.
it's one time, man. Always.
I agree. I mean, I saw the band. A guy I used to worked with the singer Dirk at a different shop,
Hmm.
and he was like, "Oh, this band's playing. We should go see him." And it's probably at the Troubadour in like 2003. And I think
Okay.
yeah, that sounds right. And so I remember being like, "Wow, these guys are a lot of fun. They're really like." It's really interesting stuff, but it's also not like inaccessible in terms of like tough guy stuff or anything else
Mhm.
like that. Which, I mean, it's fine for some people. It's just generally not that appealing to me.
Right.
And so then I ended up working with Dirk at a different shop and being like, "Oh, I saw your band. You guys are a lot of fun, you know." And then we just kind of had some overlapping similar interests. And then when their bass player wasn't working out, he asked if I'd be interested in joining. And he actually said, like, you know, learn the album. Maybe you'll get a call. Maybe you won't. And so
Yeah.
I learned what I could and the amount of time I had, and I got a call, and then tried out, and I got along with the other guys well enough. And I figured they'd probably audition a bunch of people, and
Yeah.
they didn't. So, so that's the story. So
Hey man, you're a easy guy to get along with, man. That's what I've always liked about you.
thanks, man. I mean, I'm not perfect, and it's
No,
good days, bad
who
days,
is,
but
man? Who is?
yeah.
Um,
But I moved out to Los Angeles for the film work, and I mean, I've always played music and enjoyed it, but that was never really like a big priority. So that the fact that that kind of happened organically was really cool, especially because it was the movies that made it happen. So
that's a trip, man. And
yeah.
not only that, oh, so you're a bass player. You make your own basses, dude. You fucking, you're too much, man. Like,
Well,
these are
it's
these are
it's
beautiful pieces of art. When you post them, I'm just like, geez. It's not real often because I know this is a process, obviously,
riddled with mistakes.
but but the your what you've came out with has been very, very, very. I don't know, man. I'm just gonna give you one of these. Like
Thanks, man. I
it's good
appreciate it.
stuff.
Yeah, I build stuff that no one has the interest in building. Uh, it suits the needs that I have for the band, and that's cool. I might as well have some fun while I'm doing it. With work, I have the access to a full machine shop at lunch, so it doesn't take that long for me to eat lunch. So I'm staring at 50 minutes of twiddling thumbs. So might as well do something
Something.
with it.
That's pretty cool, man.
So yeah, unfortunately, I one of the artists that worked on Drag Me to Hell
Mhm.
also builds guitars, and
Okay, cool.
his name's Garrett Immel, and he does phenomenal stuff. He's on Instagram and all that stuff. He does restorations, and he's a big Mosrite fan. So
Mhm.
like the guitars that like the Ventures would use, they kind of look like an upside down Strat.
Okay.
Also, the Ramones guy used to use one, but anyways, he's a big fan of those guitars, and he makes reproductions that are so spot on.
Oh
They're
wow.
mind blowing.
Yeah.
So he always kind of gave me a gentle push in that direction of like, oh, you should do it, blah blah blah. It's you don't save any money by any means by
Right, but it's
stuff.
the thought of you making your own, and it's man, what I mean. I'd love to do that. I wouldn't even know where to start though. Like I'm just like,
Well, I'd say buy a kit. Buy a kit. Like there's different companies
like
that make
kits.
kits. Yeah, you can buy a kit, sure. Like the first bass I built, I bought the neck was it was all set up at, I had the fretboard on it and the
Right.
frets. It was just a big block for the headstock, so I did all that aspect of it. But I mean, at least you don't have to do the thinking on that part, which is
Right.
harder.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can get. I mean, they make tons of kits that are just parts, and then you can alter them or whatever you want to do. I mean,
Right.
if you're going into it with the idea of just having fun, goofing around, then might as well. I
Like you
mean,
said, you're not saving money, but
no,
it's
no, no, no. But if there's something you want to try, the main reason I build my stuff is so I can run each pickup to a separate amp, um, or not. But generally for the band, that's what I do now since
you
we're
have the
just
option there. Yeah. Right.
yeah. So that I mean, there's other companies that build stuff like that, but they don't really have. It's not exactly what I'm looking for, so that's why I ended up building my own stuff. So,
Mhm.
but I kind of started right around Drag Me to Hell, like it was like right after that I kind of took the leap, got into it. So it all comes back to Drag Me to Hell.
This is all these topics are just like conversations that we could have forever, man. Because
Sure, sure.
like I said, oh, that's where I was getting to. Yeah, we've been friends forever, but when I see you, we're at a show or something, and it's real loud. We can only talk so much or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
And, you're obviously busy, and all that stuff. So it's just like a lot of times it's like a friendly hello
yeah,
and a good job and nice seeing you. I'll see you next time kind of thing.
yeah.
So it's
Well, I don't take it for granted. It is tough sometimes to like, I don't want to leave people hanging with like loading equipment and a lot of this stuff, and there's certain responsibilities or whatever. But I also don't want like people who've taken the time to come out and hang out like to feel like, oh, fucking dude, just
no, no, and
wasn't
and
at the
and
time,
what I
so
noticed, not just to me, dude. Like I see you tell everybody hi, everybody that's coming to hang out. Like you. That's why everybody like I see the same people at your shows every time, man. Like I'm like, oh, there's that girl, whatever her
yeah,
name is. That's this
yeah.
dude. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
'cause-
Well, I mean, I appreciate people spending
yeah,
their time. There's lots of stuff to do, and I look forward to in the future playing shows. I mean, I know it's going to be probably a minute, but
it'll happen one day. That's all. That's our driving point. One day, you know.
yeah, yeah, one day at a time, and it's just kind of stay centered with what makes you happy in the meantime, and if it's watching horror movies that bring you to a good place, then that's totally valid in
Definitely
itself.
what does it to me, man.